Hi, I'm Yannis Roussos, the product manager of the memory group, and I'd like to take you through what we're planning to achieve in GitLab 14.10, which is scheduled to be released on April 22nd of 2022. As a quick reminder, our main goal in the memory group is to continuously identify the bottlenecks that affect GitLab's performance and availability and address them. At the same time, we work towards providing better tooling, metrics, and visibility to development teams with a goal to allow them to make better, data-driven decisions when developing new features or iterating on existing ones. So let me take you through our top priorities. Our first top priority is improving the efficiency and maintainability of application metrics exporters. So in GitLab at the moment, we store all our metrics into Prometheus, but at the moment we have two competing approaches to serve those application metrics. On one hand, we have various in-app exporters that are part of the core Rails code base. And at the same time, we also have GitLab Exporter, which is an independently deployed collector and server. This approach has two major issues. We have two separate code bases to maintain and optimize. And at the same time, even more importantly, though the current exporters face numerous efficiency challenges. As an example, we know that Ruby has known inefficiencies when dealing with data-heavy workloads and cannot efficiently parallelize inherently parallel problems. So our goal here is to replace our existing exporters with a single new application exporter system that will run outside of the Rails monolith and that will perform efficiently in the face of large data volumes. And I'm talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of samples per scrape. To do so, we have two tasks. The first one is move all our exporters outside of the core application processes. So make them, run them as independent process, independent servers. And after we're done with that, we can replace all of them with a new exporter that will be way more efficient. So as a quick recap, we have already done so for Sidekick. Sidekick is our framework for running asynchronously background jobs. And we have moved the metric exporter into a separate process that has already helped us address some problems with data loss in its cases. And during the past two milestones, we have been working on moving also the metric server out of the Puma primary. And we are almost done with this one as well. And by the mid of 14.10, we will have this fully released. So the last step remaining is to create a new exporter. And we have decided to use Golang because Golang is very well, it has both improved performance and has way better characteristics with respect to concurrency and addressing parallel problems. We have already built a prototype in Golang, which have proven to be 8 times faster with respect to our current exporters while using a similar amount of memory. And we're going to expand on that and make it create a production-ready application exporter in Golang. This is a process that will take a few milestones, but we are going to start working on it in 14.10. Our expectations is that when we are done, we will have a much more efficient, performant system and at the same time more reliable way of sending application metrics to Prometheus. Our second priority is relates to performance related tooling. We have focused during the past two milestones on consolidating our profiling tools. I'm pretty happy that we have completed the initial iteration, we have completed this initiative. So we have removed or deprecated a lot of tools that are either not that useful or provide duplicate functionality. We have decided to keep a few really useful ones, and we have moved some of the existing functionality to performance bar as well. So the last remaining step to do, and it will be done in 40.10, is rework our documentation that relates to performance profiling as well here consolidate all the guidelines that we have and the various documents that we have for performance profiling, and also create new guidelines that will help step by step, will help developers address performance and do performance profiling while guiding them through the process. For example, if there is that a specific symptom, how to verify it, what's the first tool to start with, how to interpret the results, etc. Our next top priority relates to Ruby zip. We have found that Ruby zip can run against performance issues when iterating through zip files with a lot of files inside them. So we're going to explore Ruby zip alternatives to solve a few problems we have found with Ruby zip. This should be done by the end of 14.10. And then our next priority is to optimizing workers that consume a lot of memory and can cause out of memory conditions. So while working on addressing a few saturation problems in our production, saturation events, I found that we're regularly hitting out of memory conditions with more than 1,000 out of memory kills observed on Sidekick containers per day. So while investigating this, we have found that there are a few background workers that consume more than 1 gigabyte of memory occasionally. That's a lot of memory, and some of those, as you can see here, can go even above 5 gigabytes. So we have identified the ones that are killed the most often, cannot complete due to out of memory conditions. Already in 14.9, we have addressed issues with a worker that relates to pipeline artifacts. And our plan during 14.10 is to evaluate the rest of the workers and see if there is something that we can do and how to address it, either on the memory group side or on the feature groups that own those workers. Finally, our last but not least priority is update the Ruby version that we use in GitLab to 3.0. So this is a very large project. We have already worked on that in the past, and we had to pause it for a while to work on other top priorities. But we want to go back. This is important because in a year from now, on March 2023, is the end of life of Ruby 2.7, which is the current Ruby version that we use in GitLab. So we want to, as quickly as possible, to make sure that move all our code base to use Ruby 3 and unblock any other issues we may have with libraries, etc. So that's all for 40.10. Thank you for watching, and talk to you next month.